The KTM 790 and I have spent a lot of time down here at the dealer lately, which gives me lots of opportunities to practice loading and unloading. I'm going to show you a couple of tips on how I get the bike up and down the ramp, and then also the setup that I use in my truck, which is kind of unique. To start off with, I do not push the motorcycle. I'm going to do the bike under power. Also, I have set it up with a bucket at the bottom. I have a strap here. The strap, I always hook the strap up to the ramp. That way, if I add too much power, I don't kick the ramp out from underneath me. Also, I always have a step with me. I have a bucket with reinforcements on the inside so it doesn't collapse when I walk on it. And I'll always have that in position so I can step up into the truck. Once I start the bike up, so obviously first gear, ready to go. I'm gonna let the motorcycle lean into me. So I'm using my hip to hold the motorcycle. It's almost in a perfect balance, just slightly tilted towards me. That way, as I run this bike up the ramp, I get to this point, I'm not trying to have, it doesn't fall away from me. If the motorcycle is straight up and down and I lose balance the other way, then it's gonna be gone. Add enough throttle that you aren't gonna stall the bike. I'm holding 2 fingers on the front brake, and then I'm just gonna ease out the clutch enough to let the bike walk all the way up. If you're new to this, you can get to this point here, hold the front brake, get yourself up onto the step, and then you can do the same thing again. You stall it, no big deal. Add power, then release the brake, then step all the way up and you can continue walking up from there. Into position. Backing it out, I just do reverse, I line up on the ramp. Nice and slow, clutch is in. I step down, I'm holding the front brake, I'm never releasing. I have 2 fingers on it. And I just walk that bike straight back down the ramp. Let's break it down a little bit and do this again. As a reminder, I'm strapped all the way up to this. This way it doesn't get kicked out. If you're new to this, the chances of you throwing too much clutch out and kicking it out is pretty high. Also, this is really important, whatever you use as a step, make sure you have a good footing. Also, I keep all my straps in, it makes it less likely to get kicked out from underneath me. When I put this motorcycle up onto the ramp, I can find that perfect level spot here, so I'm not holding it, I'm not wrestling the motorcycle. As it goes up onto the ramp, you can see at this point here, let me turn the bike off for a second, it's in gear. So at this point here, the bike's high enough up on the ramp that I have to reach up and over the motorcycle, and it ends up holding right here with my armpit. And then I let the bike lean into my side. Little power, I'm holding the brake, I'm easing out the clutch, and the bike goes all the way up. Now that is something worth replaying. Let me back this off and show you one more time kind of what I'm doing here. I'll move the camera so you can get a better angle. What I want to show you is how I maintain that balance when it's on the ramp. The key is what I'm doing is called overlapping of controls. It's the same thing I teach when I'm training people to ride off-road, is how to blend those, or for trail braking. As the bike comes up onto the ramp, when I come to a stop, I'm going to hold that brake. I add power, I start to ease out on that clutch, but I don't release the brake until the power's at the back wheel. I'll show you what I mean by that. Go, first gear. If you come up the ramp and stop from here, and what you'll notice is when I start to add power and clutch, you'll see the way the bike kind of loads down. So you see how the front fender is starting to collapse? That collapse means that I'm loading that back tire. I'm putting tension to the drive line. Once I start to feel that pressure, then I can start to ease off the brake. Once the bike starts to move, then I can continue to do what I need to do. If you're trying to figure out how I make it look easy, that's really it. It's really about managing that throttle, that brake, and that clutch. So I'm doing all 3 controls at the same time. Hold that brake until you start to feel the bike push. This again is why it's so important that the ramp is strapped to the truck, because if I'm starting to power against the brake, the back tire is trying to push the ramp out from underneath it. But that allows me to stop at any given point on the ramp and continue on up the truck. Now I'm going to show you just once, one time, I'm just going to show you kind of real time on this. Perfect, there we go. All right, so this should give you a pretty good idea. So you can see the ramp, the box, and the truck. Give you a little bit more of a real time. Well, let's put that mat back in place. When I back out, that mat's there, so if I do it in a hurry, if I'm holding the brake too much, it'll start to slide down. That's why backing out, you should ease it very, very slowly. Power, same thing here, I get it moving. There you go. So that's definitely more realistic the way I would normally load it. But if you're not used to loading bikes all the time, the better idea is to bring it up slowly, stop the bike, hold that front brake, step up onto the box, little power, little clutch, move the bike up, step up onto the tailgate, and then continue all the way into the truck and strap it down from there. I hope you're enjoying this lesson so far. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. If you really like what I do, check out the Patreon page. But most importantly, in part 2, I'll show you how to strap down with a 4-point. Also, how to get your bike loaded in and the tailgate up, even if you only have a 6-foot bed. So let's go ahead and continue on, and here's part 2.